Good morning, everybody. It is great to have you here today. We are going to be talking about two different things today. We are going to be talking about mindset, and there are three types of mindset that Rick is going to talk about. And as we're going through these, think about where you think you might fit. What mindset are you at? Now, it doesn't mean that you have to always be there. You can change to different types of mindset. But through this exercise, think about where you think you belong with regard to mindset. Then the second thing we're going to talk about is showing up. This is just a great thing to just kind of think about consciously when you're meeting with people. And it's kind of, you've heard about suiting up and being ready to go. And that's kind of what we're going to talk about. But first, we're going to go talk about mindset. And Rick is going to take us through that.
Okay, so as Kevin mentioned, hi, everybody. And also hi to the people that are watching the recorded version. We are going to ask for some participation here in the form of, feel free to chat, add any questions or comments you have while we are talking in the chat, and then Nicole will be monitoring that as well. We'll probably get to those at the end, and then we're going to talk about some collaboration as well on your experience with showing up or your experience with mindset and so forth. So Kevin mentioned three different kinds of mindset that most people kind of end up in. One is a fixed mindset. These are people that are, everyday experts who seek perfection to avoid failure, right? The perfectionist, the person that's so focused on that one thing that they're great at, and they really like to spend time being there, right? Don't get around, don't try things that are new, but man, I'm really good at this one thing. It believes, these people believe that their strengths are innate gifts, and that they can't be developed or focused on, and they believe in perfecting those abilities rather than trying something new or expanding their horizons. Now, there's a growth mindset. These are the kind of people that are out there looking to expand their, where they're at, what their talents are, or how they appear, or how they see the world. So these are people that are constantly out there learning. They're looking to grow. They're focused on how they can do things differently and see things differently. They're exposing themselves to, books or podcasts or people that are helping them see and expand their mindset. And these people believe that their strengths can be developed with effort and reaching higher levels of achievement. In other words, they're not stuck in a particular area. They can grow. And then the benefit mindset people are the people that are out there looking to not only take that growth that they have, but they want to be leaders. They want to be out there, bringing good to the whole world and help bringing other people along. And they're focused on the why of what's going on behind their mindset. And they believe that the strength and the meaningful that their strength and meaningful contributions to the future of the greater good, rather than just necessarily focusing on themselves. So those are three different categories where you may find yourself in one of those. And as Kevin mentioned, that's so much more efficient. As Kevin mentioned, that you may or may not find yourself in one or more of those categories at different times too. You're not necessarily stuck someplace. So we want to talk about, though, that mindset, the voices in your head. What are those conversations like? How do you perceive the world? How is it that you're seeing the world in terms of your family, your business, your personal, the view of yourself? And what are the conversations that are happening during the day for you, your waking hours? How is it that you talk to yourself? Is it positive, or is it tend to be negative? Do you tend to see the good things in the world, or do you tend to see the negative things? Keep going, Kevin.
Yep. Nope. Sorry.
So back one. There you go.
My computer, for some reason, is just going.
Giving you a hard time. No problem.
Yeah,
So
totally.
abundance versus scarcity. This is a really, really big one. And again, you don't necessarily fit into one category or another, but do you tend to look at things from the standpoint of there's an abundance. There is not a scarcity. There's this common belief that we're all competing, and there's only so much, and so we have to get ours. One of the places this comes out, we've talked about this in the context of real estate, is agents like having their great ideas. I was talking to a great agent yesterday, talking about the idea of collaboration and how some people, feel like they have that secret sauce and they're not willing to share it with other agents. That's a scarcity mentality, to not be willing to share whatever great ideas or things that have worked with you. An abundance mentality would be, hey, I've got this and I've got plenty enough for you to share. I want to share these ideas with you as well. I want to share with you my experience so that you can be better, also that we can all be better together. That's an abundance mindset. Another place that this comes up for agents is in the context of hiring and bringing on a team and delegating responsibilities with an expense, whether it's a marketing person or an assistant or a buyer's agent or, all these things. If you have not hired and delegated, if you've not created a world where you have a bunch of who's working for you, and I'm kind of going down a little bit of a rabbit hole here, but in last quarter, we talked about a book called Who Not How. And it's the big idea is that we are not all things to all people, and that we typically we end up being these sole proprietors that are doing not only the stuff that we're the best at, which is negotiating and creating relationships, but we're also out there hanging the sign and going to all the inspections and writing all of our offers and doing all those things. And sometimes the reason people don't have the who's in their life is they're worried about, can I afford it? I can't spend money on coaching because I can't afford it. I can't spend money on having an assistant because I can't afford it. That's a scarcity mentality. An abundant mentality is, I know that I'm doing these things for the right reasons, and that's going to create more abundance, not just for me, but those around me. So that's abundance versus scarcity. So you will see what you're looking for. There's a quote, and I should have had the actual quote here, so I'm gonna paraphrase the quote. But Henry Ford said something like, "Whether you think you're going to fail or think you're going to succeed, you will be right." And so the idea is that whatever pair of glasses that you're looking through, whether you see things from a scarcity standpoint or abundance, whether you see a glass half full or half empty, whether you see a successful career ahead of yourself or one that you're not going to make it, either way, you're probably going to be taking yourself that direction, all because of mindset. Your brain cannot take a joke, and we're going to talk about that a little bit more. But what you tell yourself, typically your brain then makes that happen. So let's talk about how to kind of retrain your brain if it needs to be retrained. And for a lot of people, it does, myself included. I want to tell you too that, and Kevin and I talk about this all the time, everything that we talk about, everything we're going to talk about over the next 3 months are things that we've actually done. For me, more so than Kevin, I would say these are things that we've actually done because I failed so many times. I've let myself down so many times. I've had a brain, for example, that was constantly in the negative and living in the scarcity and all those things. I really had to learn how to do things differently. And one of the great ways to do that is by affirmations. Now, I will tell you, so I'm 52, if you're around my age, you probably remember Saturday Night Live, and Stuart Smalley, I think, was the character on Saturday Night Live. And, he would sit there in front of his mirror and he'd say, "I'm good enough and I'm strong enough. And gosh darn it, people like me." And I think I was in my early 20s when I saw that, and we made fun of that guy. And so in my mind, I'll tell you what I wasn't going to do is any affirmations, because that was ridiculous and stupid. And it wasn't until, I don't know, like maybe 10 years ago that I was reading a book with one of my buddies, Jeremy, who you guys will hear a lot about. He's my lending partner, he's one of my best friends. And we were doing these videos. And one of the things was talked about how important it was to write down how you want your life to look and then repeat them to yourself. It didn't call it an affirmation, by the way. So it kind of tricked me into doing affirmations, but I did it and actually worked. And I was like, what? I don't understand, but it actually worked. So even if you have like this weird idea, like affirmations are weird or dumb or Stuart Smalley, you don't actually have to, even with that experience, these affirmations will still work, I guess is my message. Here's the other thing. You're doing affirmations anyway. The conversations that you're having with yourself, I'd be willing to bet, if you think about it, if you pay attention to the voices and how you talk to yourself, there's some affirmations in there. Maybe it's something like this: oh, I'm not very good at listing appointments. That's an affirmation. I'm not a very disciplined person. That's an affirmation. So you're already doing affirmations. What we want to do is counteract those affirmations with purposeful, positive affirmations that change the way you see yourself and ultimately will change the way your brain works. When you tell your brain something in a present day positive manner, your brain will start to go towards that kind of thinking. So if you go to the next slide, Kevin. These are now, so I have affirmations that I do every day. When you guys start getting my my daily navigator, for those of you who are new, that's our daily accountability. You'll see on the box that I check that I do my affirmations. These are some of the ones I do, but mine are even, I have a list. There's probably like 25 of them on there. But this is an example of some of the affirmations. I do not allow the emotions of my clients to rule my emotions. Why did I create that affirmation? Because I did allow my clients' emotions to rule my emotions, right? So I had to retrain my brain to go, no. Your clients are going to be emotional. That's their job. It's a big deal. Now we're going to retrain our brain to be like, you know what? Let them be emotional. I'm not going to let it rule my emotions, right? I love to meet new people. Why do I say this? Because I'm terrified of meeting new people. I love to help people anonymously. Now that one is not, that one's more one that I actually really do like to do that, but I want it to be in my brain that to remind myself, hey, don't forget, let's make sure that we're out there helping people and we're not taking any credit for it. My team follows me because I'm a great leader. Sometimes I'm not convinced that I am a great leader. And so I want to make sure that I'm telling myself, hey, you're a great leader. And then it's also going to make my brain do things that put me in a position of being a great leader. I've reminded myself, hey, you are a great leader. And then I love helping others achieve their goals. That's a passion of mine, but I want to remind myself of that. So that's affirmations. Now, what about meditation? I was told from the age of like 21, 22, the importance of meditation by this group of people that I was spending a lot of time with. They were important to me. Guess what I did? I didn't do it. I didn't think it was important. I didn't really learn to do it. I thought, I can't do it. I've tried it. I can't focus. It doesn't work for me. And it wasn't until I was about 35 or so that I got myself in this place with my head where it was like, okay, I really need to take this seriously. And I ended up almost tricking myself into this meditation group where I was a disaster for the first few times that I went to this. But one sooner or later, because I ended up having a commitment to this meeting, I started to become tuned into what the value of meditation could do for me. And so what I've done from that point till now is really try to be purposeful about taking 10 to 15 minutes to just be quiet and meditate. For the last, 4 or 5 years, I really like the meditation apps. There's Calm. The one I use is called Insight Timer. But whatever you want, if you're not a meditator, that's a great way to get started. And over a period of time, you will see, a short period of time, you'll start to see a real difference. I heard one person talk about when you're meditating, that it's like, it takes your brain, it's like this glass of swirling dirty water. And then as you meditate, the swirl starts to stop and the dirt or the sand in the water starts to settle down and you can see clearly through that glass. And that's what we're shooting for towards meditation. And it's a big part of mindset. Okay, journaling. Here's another one that I've resisted all these things. I just want to make sure I'll just say that I've resisted them all. I never thought any of them were a good idea. In fact, I would say this is the most recent one that I've kind of taken on. I would, when I've had people in my life go, hey, maybe you should write about it. I was always like, isn't there anything else I can do? I do not want to journal. But when I journal, it is like magic because all of a sudden, again, all that stuff that's going on in my head is swirling around with no real direction or understanding. When I start writing it down, there's something magic that happens when you take that from your brain and you start putting it on a pen or writing it down, that what comes out is not what you were thinking in your head. And I've gotten so much clarity from taking the time to doing, to just writing out whatever happens to be in my head. And there doesn't have to be any rules. You don't have to worry about spelling. You don't have to worry about punctuation. You don't have to worry about what your topic is. Nobody's going to grade it. It's just getting that stuff down on paper that's important. And be curious with yourself. Being curious is a big theme for us here, by the way. Being curious is the answer to a lot of problems. Okay. Exercise, another one that I've been kind of an athlete, whatever, most of my whole life, but I would never have considered exercise. If you'd asked me, do you exercise? I would say no. I didn't really care about, feeling better or anything like that. To be honest, I don't even think exercise, in my mind, if you'd asked me, I'd said exercise is BS. Like, it doesn't really do anything. I know that sounds ridiculous, but that is exactly how I felt about it. And as I've gotten older and I became a runner a few years ago, reluctantly. It's amazing how much it has changed my life to have some aerobic activity on a regular basis. What happens in my brain, the ideas, the clarity, and also my anxiety and my fear have gone way, way down. And so if you are not many of you already are exercising, I'm preaching to the choir, but if you're one of those people that says, I can't exercise, I can't run, I can't do it, I don't have time, whatever it is, make the time. It's super important. And again, even though it doesn't seem like it, it has everything to do with your mindset and how you will see the world. Okay, so now we're going to talk about showing up, and Kevin is going to take the lead on that.
So showing up, I really understood showing up when COVID hit, because, think about it. When COVID first struck, we had to work from home. We had to tool ourselves in how we work. So it was really easy to get up in the morning and get onto a call and be in my jammy bottoms, on the bottom half and my, shirt on the top half. But that was kind of half-assed. It didn't really get me into the mind of showing up. And so what I started doing was I would get up, an hour before my first meeting, I'd take a shower, I'd have a coffee, I'd read the paper, I look good, and then I'd get in front of the camera. And I think this whole idea, there's so much more to just that in showing up that I think really helps us be better agents and better people. So 80% of success is showing up. That's a Woody Allen comment. And it's true. If you show up and you're ready to take things on, you're probably going to be successful. So I'm going to share with you 7 steps, things that you can think about that really are going to help you master the art of showing up. I want to let you know that I have a copy of everything that I'm talking about right now. And when I post the video this afternoon, you'll see, and this is already actually there. There's a document called The 7 Ways to Master the Art of Showing Up. It's already there. And it's also on Workplace in the knowledge library with the video, and also in form. So you can print this up, take a look at it, and kind of follow it. So the first one is think big, but start small. So this one I understood sometimes too late, because I'm always thinking, the big goals at the end, and that's what I'm all excited about. But what we need to really realize is that it takes tiny steps to get to that big goal. And I think football is a perfect example, because we think, we want to win the game, but the game is actually built on moving the ball inches or feet to finally get to the goal. So you can think in your mind, and you must think in your mind, this is what the end is going to look like, but you need to focus on those small steps that are going to actually get you there. The second one is whatever you do, do it daily. Now, this is creating habit. This, and this is something else that we're going to talk about as a separate thing. But I think, as we all know, creating a habit, doing something every single day, it becomes comfortable. It becomes something that we do. I'll share a personal experience. Rick and Nicole know all about this one. I just completed a 45-day cleanse. And in this cleanse, I needed to, there were 2 things that I'd have to drink in the morning. There was a certain thing that I had to do for lunch. And then there was a certain thing that I had to do for dinner. I had to give up alcohol, had to give up red meat, had to give up all these things. And the first day I'm like, oh, this is really tough. So I made it through my 45 days. I lost about, I think, 23 or 4 pounds. I feel really good. And my cleanse was over. So I started going back to my old habits. I gained a little weight, and I'm now back on the cleanse. And I just kind of do it every weekday. Weekends, I give myself a little break. But what I'm saying, it's really tough when you start to say, I've got to do this every day. And at that point, too many people give up. But when you cause it to become a habit, then is when the magic really happens. So I love this one. I think that this was said by Mark Twain, and I love this: eat a live frog first thing in the morning. And I'm not sure if you've heard this one before. Basically, all it's saying is get the stuff you hate to do that the very first thing. And then by the time you're at the end of your day, everything's done. You know, I am a procrastinator, and I do like to put things off until the end of the day. But what happens to me is if I don't get it done first, is it keeps weighing on my mind. Oh, I still have to do that. Oh, I still have to do that. But if you get it done right away, then it's out of your mind and you don't have to worry about it through the day. So I love this one. Certainly there are things that we can't get out of the way in the morning, but if it's maybe calls that you need to make or things that you need to do, and you can do it first thing in the morning, get it done. Create a false sense of urgency. It's really easy to look at certain things that we have to do and say, I'll do that when I get to it. I'll make it happen. I'm not worried about it. But if you put a sense of urgency around it and think, I have got to get this done, and you kind of build up the importance of it, it does allow you to get it done faster. So this can go with things that you don't necessarily want to do, but things that you really need to get done. So really putting a little false sense of urgency can help to complete those things. The next one is tame your unconscious mind. This is kind of a psychological thing, but it really is looking at the long-term goals that you have and allowing your mind to realize that you need to and can do those things. And when you tame your mind or allow your mind to realize that I can get these things done, you're going to get these things done. And Rick talked a little bit about that in mindset. You need to realize that you can do these things and there's nothing holding you back. And that's taming your mind, and it's actually calming your mind because you realize that you can do it. The next one is be a diver, not a dabbler. You've seen the movies or whatever. Oh, I dabble in this, or friends say, oh yeah, I like to do this a little bit. And this is really saying, don't just dabble in a little of everything. Get really good. Be somebody that takes a deep dive on something and really gets it done. You know, when I first started in real estate 22 years ago, negotiation was something I really loved. So to me, you know, that's what I did. But when it came to putting offers together and really understanding it, it's like I knew the basics of what it was, but it kind of like wasn't something I enjoyed. So I decided my 6th month in real estate, I said to myself, this is something that is a part of this job. It's something that you need to be really good at. So just dive in. And I did. And I sat with my sales manager, and she really took me through the contract. And I'm like, okay, I get this now. So I became an expert at writing contracts. So if you need any help with writing a contract, just give me a call. Happy to help. The other thing is getting comfortable with failure. Now, we deal with failure all the time, especially in our business, we're dealing with failure with how many offers do we put out that get rejected. And so getting comfortable with that and kind of saying, you know what, it's okay because I just need to get to the next one. So many people get defeated by failure, and life is full of failure. And the more easily that you can get back on the horse, get back on your computer, writing another offer, the more comfortable you're going to be with failure, because you know that success is ultimately going to come out of it. Final word. This whole idea, this melds in my mind perfectly with mindset. Showing up is your mindset. You are showing up to be successful. And I think if you follow these 7 steps, I really think that it's going to make a change in what you're doing. And you know, try to put all of them in place at one time. Easy to do. But if you just take 1 or 2 and just really work to make those things become a part of your mindset and your habit, I think it's going to make a real change for you. So homework. Rick, why don't you take this first one?
Right. So for the next 24 hours, pay attention to the voices in your head. Could be the voices.
What voice? What? Where?
What are they saying? Is it positive or negative? Were you surprised by their thoughts? And I say there because your thoughts are not you. If you don't already do all of the items that are suggested, consider adding one new great habit. So if that's exercise or affirmations or meditation, whatever it is, ultimately you guys will see that both Kevin and I every day that we do the Daily Navigator, we do most of these things. And it makes a big difference. And then seek out it.
But it didn't start out that way, Rick. So the good point is, and I'm excited for everybody to get the Daily Navigator. Those from Q1 are already doing it. Those in Q2, we're going to start in just a couple of weeks. But the mistake that you'll see, and I'm just kind of foreshadowing what's coming up, is don't think that you have to do everything right off the bat. It's taking those little steps and do one or two things that then become habit, and then you're good to add the next thing.
Yeah, and we're going to tell you that over and over and over again, because Kevin's right. That is the number one thing that we see with people is, I'm going to do it all at once. And we get sprinters and no marathon runners, right? And if you were tried to run a marathon at a sprinter's pace, you won't make it. So that is the idea. And so you're going to hear that from us over and over again, whether it's lead gen stuff or mindset stuff or whatever. It's always take on a little bit, create a good habit, and then add on to that. So thank you for reminding us.
That's right. So the next thing, did you get all of yours?
Almost, but that's good. Yeah. Oh, the last part was just seek out a mentor. So if you're kind of like, I'm not sure exactly how to do this. You may already know somebody who you go, oh, I have a friend who's a great meditation person, or I have a friend or somebody I know that is an exercise coach. Or if you want to seek out Kevin and I for anything, don't just feel like you have to reinvent the wheel on your own. Seek help. That's
right. So with regard to the 7 ways to master the art of showing up, science has shown and proof has been set that if you do these things, if you really are showing up and allowing yourself to show up, and in your mind showing up, your chances of success for increasing sales, increasing relationships, increasing all these things can go up by 80%. So what the homework from my part of the class is take a look, go to Workplace, go to the Knowledge Library and click on the 7 ways to master the art of showing up, download it, and just kind of keep it in front of you and remind yourself, oh, I need to do this, I need to do that. And I think it will be something that really is going to help. Rick, what are the roadblocks?
Well, just like all of the roadblocks, anything we're telling you that is not what you're already doing, your brain is going to come up with reasons that seem completely legitimate that you should not do it. And so it's fighting off that idea of, I don't need to do this. I don't have time for this. I did it once. It didn't work for me. All of those are mindset ideas and are going to get in the way of you doing things differently. The reason you signed up for coaching was because you want something to change. And this is how you're going to do that, is by busting through those mindset ideas of I don't have time. I don't need to do this. I'm different. All those are not a good idea.